Hi, Val. You woman communicates with confidence, not desperation, because she understands that her words are not just sounds carried through the air. They are reflections of who she is, what she stands for, and what she refuses to tolerate. When she speaks, there is no trembling in her voice, no desperate need to prove herself, no begging for attention or validation. She speaks with certainty, with intention, and with the kind of energy that cannot be ignored. A man can sense immediately when a woman knows her worth, because her words don't come from fear of losing him. They come from a deep understanding that she will be just fine without him if he fails to meet her standards. That is the difference between confidence and desperation. Confidence creates respect, while desperation destroys it. The truth is, men are naturally drawn to certainty. They admire strength. They crave direction and clarity in a world full of chaos. And when a woman shows up with her boundaries clear and her standards intact, she separates herself from the noise. She doesn't chase texts. She doesn't over-explain. She doesn't cry for reassurance. She knows that if a man values her, he will act accordingly. And if he doesn't, she has the strength to walk away. Her communication is direct, not aggressive. It is warm, but never needy. It is feminine, but never weak. She doesn't seek to control, she seeks to express, and when she expresses herself, she does so in a way that leaves no room for confusion. Desperation, on the other hand, is a repellent. When a woman lowers herself to constant questioning, constant doubting, constant chasing, she gives away her power. Desperation sounds like, "Do you still love me? Why didn't you call? What are you doing? Please don't leave me." Confidence sounds like, "This is what I expect. This is who I am. This is how I choose to be treated." Men may play with the desperate, but they commit to the confident. They may entertain the ones who beg for attention, but they fight to keep the one who doesn't need it. Confidence doesn't mean arrogance. It doesn't mean speaking with harshness or disrespect. It means speaking from a place of calm assurance. When a "Hi, Val, you woman" tells a man, "I respect myself too much to tolerate this," she's not yelling, she's not crying. She's simply stating her truth. And that truth is more powerful than any outburst could ever be. She doesn't repeat herself endlessly, because her words carry weight the first time. She doesn't explain why she deserves respect. She shows it through how she carries herself, how she speaks, and how quickly she removes herself from situations that don't align with her standards. A man knows when he is speaking to a woman of value because she doesn't fill the silence with insecurity. She doesn't text paragraphs to prove her point. She doesn't beg him to understand her worth. She lives it, she breathes it, and the way she communicates reflects it. Even in love, even in moments of vulnerability, her words remain grounded. She can say, "I care about you deeply, but I won't accept less than I deserve," with a calm voice that makes a man pause. He knows she means it. He knows she will leave if he plays games. That is why men respect her, because she doesn't give them endless chances to mistreat her. The power of a confident woman is that her communication teaches a man how to treat her without her having to constantly repeat herself. He learns quickly that she values honesty, so he speaks truthfully. He learns that she values consistency, so he shows up consistently. He learns that she values effort, so he puts in the work. Her words create an environment of respect because they are backed by action. If he crosses her boundary, she doesn't just talk about it. She enforces it. That enforcement is what separates the high-value woman from the desperate one. Desperation keeps talking, confidence keeps moving. Men test women, whether consciously or subconsciously. They test to see if her words are empty or real. They push boundaries to see if she will bend. And when they meet a woman whose communication is strong, whose standards don't crumble, they learn quickly that she cannot be manipulated. This doesn't make her cold. It makes her powerful, and power, when wrapped in feminine energy, is magnetic. It's the kind of force that men cannot resist because it demands their best version. Aha, Val, you woman also understands timing in communication. She knows when to speak and when to remain silent. Desperation spills words at the wrong time, begging for clarity, begging for commitment, begging for affection. Confidence allows silence to do the talking. She knows that her presence is enough. She knows that her energy speaks louder than her words. She doesn't rush responses. She doesn't overreact. She doesn't chase conversations. She communicates with patience because patience is a form of power. It shows she is not afraid to wait, not afraid to walk, not afraid to lose what isn't meant for her. Her communication is also rooted in self-control. A desperate woman speaks to ease her own anxiety. A confident woman speaks to express her truth, not to control the outcome. She doesn't use words as manipulation. She uses them as reflection of her standards. And when she says, "This is not acceptable for me," she doesn't say it to make a man feel guilty. She says it because it is simply her reality. Her words are final because she backs them with action. Every man, deep down, respects the woman who communicates with confidence. Even if he cannot rise to meet her standards, he knows she is rare. He knows she is different, and if he loses her, he remembers her because the way she spoke to him left a mark. She didn't cry for his love. She demanded it through the way she valued herself. She didn't beg for his loyalty. She required it through the way she carried herself. And that kind of communication lingers because it reveals strength, independence, and elegance. At the heart of it, the reason Val, you woman communicates with confidence is simple. She knows that desperation attracts the wrong kind of man, while confidence attracts the right one. She doesn't want someone to stay out of pity. She wants someone who chooses her with full awareness of her worth. And she knows that by speaking confidently, she filters out the weak, the insecure, and the unworthy, leaving only the men who are strong enough to rise to her level in life and in love. Words are powerful. They can build or break, uplift or destroy. A high-value woman uses her words as tools of truth, not weapons of desperation. She doesn't use them to beg, she uses them to set standards. She doesn't use them to control, she uses them to clarify. And through that communication, she creates a world where respect, love, and loyalty flourish naturally. That is why her voice is unforgettable. That is why her presence is unmatched. And that is why she will always stand apart. Because when she speaks, the world listens, not out of obligation, but out of respect. Her standards set the tone for how men treat her, because a woman who knows what she deserves never has to beg for respect. It is commanded by the way she carries herself. A Val, you woman does not sit silently hoping someone will see her worth. She defines it clearly, lives by it unapologetically, and makes it known through her actions. Men are not mind readers. They respond to what a woman allows, what she tolerates, and what she walks away from. When she sets standards, she is not building walls to keep men out. She is building gates to let the right ones in. Those standards become the filter that separates the men who only want to play from the men who are ready to stay. A man quickly learns how to treat a woman based on the boundaries she enforces. If she allows disrespect, he will disrespect her. If she allows inconsistency, he will give her the bare minimum. If she accepts excuses, he will offer them endlessly. But when her standards are high, when she expects honesty, effort, loyalty, and respect, then he knows he has to rise to that level or lose her entirely. This is not about being demanding or impossible. It is about refusing to be undervalued. A Val, you woman does not lower her standards to keep a man. She keeps her standards to see if he is worthy of staying. Standards are not just words, they are habits. They show up in the way she communicates, the way she dresses, the way she handles herself in public, and the way she carries herself in private. She does not need to shout them because her actions reveal them. When she walks into a room, her presence alone communicates that she is not someone who settles for crumbs. A man senses it. He knows she cannot be bought with cheap promises or fooled with half-hearted attention. She is not desperate for love because she is already complete within herself. That wholeness makes her standards firm because she is not afraid of being alone. She would rather stand alone in dignity than be surrounded in chaos. When a man meets such a woman, he quickly understands that if he wants her, he must bring his best. He cannot show up with empty words. He must show up with consistent action. He cannot feed her lies because she will see through them. He cannot waste her time because she values it too much. Men respect what they have to work for. When something comes too easy, they take it for granted. But when a woman holds herself to a higher standard, she forces him to either grow into the man he is meant to be or to step aside for someone who will. Low standards invite mistreatment. High standards invite growth. That is the difference. A man who truly wants a high value woman will adjust his behavior because her standards become the silent guide for how he approaches her. If she demands respect, he speaks carefully. If she demands effort, he shows consistency. If she demands honesty, he drops his games. And if he cannot rise to meet those expectations, he does not get access to her. That simple truth is what gives her power, not through control, but through choice. A woman without standards becomes a woman without direction. She bends, she breaks, she accepts less than she deserves, and in doing so, she teaches men that she can be treated casually. But a woman with standards teaches men how to respect her without even saying a word. If she doesn't accept late night calls from strangers, men stop trying. If she doesn't accept half-hearted relationships, men either step up or leave. If she doesn't tolerate lies, men who lie disappear from her life quickly. This is not cruelty, this is clarity. Standards bring clarity, and clarity brings peace. The greatest mistake a woman can make is thinking that having standards will push men away. The truth is, standards do not push the right men away, they push the wrong men away. Weak men call a woman too much when she refuses to accept less. Strong men call her inspiring because she makes them better. The wrong men see her standards as a burden. The right man sees her standards as a challenge worth rising to. And that is the beauty of it. By simply holding firm to what she deserves, she filters out the ones who could never give it to her. Her standards also protect her heart. A woman without standards gives her love away too easily, investing in men who are not prepared to handle it. But a high-value woman knows that love without respect is worthless. She knows that her time and energy are her most valuable resources, and she refuses to give them to someone who cannot honor them. Her standards act as armor, keeping her from falling for men who only want to take. She doesn't play the victim because she never allows herself to be one. Her standards are her shield, and they prevent her from being misused. A man may not always admit it, but he craves a woman with standards. Deep down, he respects her more. He knows that if she values herself, then being chosen by her means something. She doesn't give herself away to just anyone. She makes him earn it, and in that earning he grows. He becomes more consistent, more responsible, more focused. A high-value woman with strong standards brings out the best in a man because she refuses to accept the worst. Every relationship is shaped by the standards set at the beginning. If a woman accepts disrespect early, it will grow later. If she allows laziness in the start, it will define the entire relationship. But if she sets the tone from day one that she expects kindness, loyalty, and consistency, then the man understands from the beginning how to treat her, and if he cannot give it, he walks away before wasting her time. Standards are the foundation, and without them, relationships collapse. A woman's silence can even be her strongest standard. When she refuses to argue endlessly, when she refuses to justify herself, when she simply walks away from disrespect, she communicates more than words ever could. That silence tells a man, I do not compete for love. I do not chase. I do not beg. I expect to be treated with dignity. And that silence forces him to reflect, forces him to rise, forces him to decide if he values her enough to give her what she deserves. Her standards do not just influence how men treat her. They influence how the world sees her. People mirror what she accepts. Friends respect her because she respects herself. Family values her because she values herself. Colleagues treat her professionally because she demands it. Everywhere she goes, the way she carries her standards determines the way others approach her. In the end, her standards are not about making life harder. They are about making life better. They protect her peace, filter her relationships, and preserve her dignity. A woman without standards may get temporary attention, but a woman with standards gets lasting respect. That respect becomes the foundation for love that is deep, consistent, and real. Because the truth is simple. The way a woman teaches men to treat her is not through begging, not through arguing, not through desperation. It is through the standards she refuses to lower. And when she holds them high, she attracts not just any man, but the right man, the man who sees her worth and honors it without question. True power lies in self-respect and knowing your worth, because when a woman truly understands who she is and what she deserves, she becomes untouchable. No insult can break her, no rejection can shatter her. No man can manipulate her into settling for less than she deserves. The foundation of every high, life, every powerful relationship, every dream fulfilled begins with self-respect. It is the unshakable belief that your time, your body, your energy, and your love are priceless. Once you know that truth, you stop giving yourself to people who cannot afford you, not in money, but in effort, in loyalty, and in respect. Self-respect is not about arrogance or pride. It is about boundaries. It is the quiet discipline of saying, this is what I accept, and this is what I will never tolerate. A woman who respects herself doesn't need to scream it from the rooftops. She shows it in how she carries herself, how she speaks, and how quickly she walks away from anything that doesn't honor her. She doesn't beg to be understood. She chooses to be valued. And when she chooses herself, the world learns to value her too. Knowing your worth is what frees you from desperation. It silences the fears that make people cling to toxic relationships. It protects you from chasing after people who were never meant to stay. When you know your worth, you realize that rejection is not a reflection of your value. It is simply redirection. The wrong man leaving is not your loss, it's his. The wrong opportunity slipping away is not the end, it is a door opening to something greater. Self-respect keeps you steady, reminding you that you are enough without external validation. A woman who lacks self-respect becomes a prisoner of other people's opinions. She bends herself to fit into places she doesn't belong. She accepts treatment that wounds her because she doesn't believe she deserves better. But a woman who respects herself is free. She doesn't lower her standards for temporary affection. She doesn't sell her dignity for attention. She doesn't give discounts on her worth. She knows that her value is not up for negotiation. True power is silent and steady. It doesn't need approval. It doesn't beg to be recognized. It simply exists. When a woman knows her worth, she moves with a calm confidence that makes people pay attention. Men chase her not because she pleads for their love, but because her energy demands their best. Friends respect her not because she asks for it, but because her presence requires it. Opportunities find her because she believes she is worthy of them. That belief becomes her magnet. Self-respect is also about how you treat yourself. You cannot expect the world to value you if you devalue yourself. A high-value woman invests in her mind, her health, her growth, and her peace. She doesn't wait for someone else to save her. She saves herself. She doesn't wait for permission to chase her dreams. She gives herself permission. She doesn't wait for a man to validate her beauty. She validates it every morning when she looks in the mirror and says, "I am enough." That inner dialogue shapes her outer reality. When you know your worth, you stop comparing yourself to others. You stop competing for attention. You realize there is no competition because no one else can replace you. Your uniqueness becomes your crown. Your individuality becomes your power. You no longer envy what others have because you understand that your blessings are uniquely designed for you. Jealousy fades, insecurity fades, fear fades, because self-respect doesn't leave room for them. People often confuse love with sacrifice, but true love without self-respect is slavery. When a woman sacrifices her dignity to keep someone, she loses herself in the process. That is not power, that is weakness disguised as love. Real love is built on mutual respect. Real power is knowing when to walk away from anyone who cannot give it, and the courage to walk away only comes from self-respect. A desperate woman clings, but a powerful woman releases. She knows that if someone cannot value her, they do not deserve her. The most attractive quality in a woman is not beauty, not wealth, not charm, it is self-respect. Men respect what they cannot easily have. They admire what stands firm. They crave what demands their best. A woman who knows her worth is unforgettable because she doesn't blend in with the desperate crowd. She doesn't beg for attention. She doesn't settle for half love. She shines not because of who she is with, but because of who she is. Self-respect also teaches patience. A hive, you woman does not rush. She knows that what is meant for her will never pass her by. She does not chase after half-hearted men because she knows the right one will come with full effort. She does not panic over missed opportunities because she trusts her worth enough to wait for better ones. Patience is power, and only those who know their worth can truly wait without fear. When you respect yourself, you set the tone for how others treat you. If you accept disrespect, you invite more of it. If you allow inconsistency, you teach people that your time is worthless. But when you demand respect through your actions, when you walk away the moment someone crosses your line, you show the world that you are not afraid of losing what isn't real. That courage is where true power lies. The world tests women constantly. It throws lies, distractions, manipulations, and temptations at them. But a woman who knows her worth is unshaken. She cannot be bought by shallow compliments. She cannot be trapped by toxic love. She cannot be controlled by fear. She walks her own path, and because of that, she attracts the life she deserves. That is the essence of power, not forcing, not begging, but attracting. Every woman who rises to greatness does so because she first respected herself enough to rise. She respected herself enough to demand more, to walk away from less, to keep pushing even when others doubted her. She knew her worth, and because of that, she never gave up on herself. The world eventually respected her because she respected herself first. In the end, the greatest gift a woman can give herself is self-respect. It is the foundation of every boundary, every standard, every relationship, and every dream. Without it, she is lost. With it, she is unstoppable. True power does not come from controlling others, from seeking validation, or from begging for love. It comes from within. It comes from the unshakable belief that you are worthy of the best, and the discipline to never settle for less. When a woman embraces that truth, she becomes a force the world cannot ignore. Because true power, the kind that cannot be taken away, will always lie in self-respect and knowing your worth. And so, understand this, your value has never been up for negotiation. The world may try to test you, men may try to challenge you, and life may try to break you. But the woman who respects herself cannot be broken. She does not bend to desperation. She does not collapse under pressure. She does not chase what runs from her. She stands tall because she knows her worth, and from that worth flows her true power. Your standards will protect you, your confidence will carry you, your self-respect will elevate you. You don't need to convince anyone of who you are, you only need to live it. Every time you choose to walk away from disrespect, you become stronger. Every time you demand better for yourself, you create a future filled with peace, love, and fulfillment. Do not forget, being high, you is not about perfection, it is about recognition. Recognizing your worth, living by it, and never allowing anyone to lower it. The day you fully embrace that truth is the day you become unstoppable. Because a woman who knows her worth cannot be ignored, cannot be replaced, and cannot be defeated. She is and always will be a force